I mean, boys, when I said this yesterday, it was a joke. Anyway, once I chastised them very, very much and said, look, don't do this again or I'm going to remove you from the group, and not just the group, the guild, because unfortunately he is in the guild on Classic. Oh, the pain. I don't know, I actually got that, but it was aimed directly at Mincy TTV, so go check my boy out over on Twitch. Of course I wasn't going to kick him from the guild. I appreciate some of you might not have seen me before, so you probably don't understand my sense of humour, or just my general character, but I'm not like that. So Gruul, I mean, it wasn't difficult. Hiking Mulgar wasn't difficult. Gruul wasn't difficult. And yes, before you start going off in the comments saying, well, what did you expect? You've played on private servers and all that. Yeah, fine. I know the raids are not going to be comparable to raids that have been tuned up by health, by armour, by damage done and all of that. But ultimately, we do want, something that's a bit engaging. Or I do. I don't want to just steamroll all the content. You've got to remember, we're going to have Tier 4, which is Karazhan, Gruul, and Magtheridon for multiple months, because it's going alongside Season 1, PvP season. So we at least want a little bit of a challenge. Now, I'm not saying, we need it to be super buffed, so only hardcore guilds can do it. Do not confuse what I'm saying. That is not the point. But ultimately, when we tested last night, Hiking Mulgar and Gruul, was it difficult? I'm not going to say it was difficult. It will be a nice challenge for like more, I'm not even going to say casual guilds. I'm going to say guilds that haven't done this before. They've not played on private servers, they didn't play during TBC, or they did play during TBC but didn't get a chance to do 25-man content. This is going to be fun. And I was pleasantly surprised. Now, again, don't mistake what I'm saying. I'm not saying the content was difficult, but it was enjoyable. Now, if you was watching last night, so I stream over on twitch.tv/Scottejaye87, links in the description below. Come over and give me a follow, because we're going to be doing Magtheridon tonight. Now, if you was watching, you would have seen me start getting a little bit frustrated on Hiking Mulgar. Not Gruul. Gruul was fine. We killed it on the third pull. The first and second pull, the tanks, due to not being uncrushable, it was just RNG. I mean, our tank died, our prop paladin, who's main tank in it, I was taking the hatefuls, died when it was only 3 or 4 growth stacks, just due to unlucky crushes. And the same thing happened to me, although it was a bit more my fault, actually, on Hiking Mulgar. I pulled Hiking Mulgar and got one-shotted instantly, over 15k, as you've just seen on screen. Now, that was not ideal, but that could have been avoided because it was completely my fault. I wasn't expecting to tank, so I didn't actually put on much tanking gear. I had a couple of bits on, I weren't using Wolf's Head Helm, and I had Earth Warden equipped, but there was a few other bits I could have done to get more armor, more health, which after I'd done that, when I was getting crushed, it was fine. I was surviving, but that was completely my bad, But we had positioning mistakes. I mean, I think we had a couple of wipes on Hiking Mulgar, a couple of wipes on Gruul. Nothing was too difficult. It was more that it was pretty much an entire pug. There was only probably 3 or 4 of us in the group that had even raided together before. We had a guy who wasn't, and I'm not having a dig before you start saying, oh god, he was threatening to kick people from the guild yesterday, and now you're moaning about pugs. I'm not moaning about pugs. I know what pugs are like. I've done loads of them. But we did have someone who genuinely didn't have, English wasn't his first language. Let's just say that. So trying to sort his positioning out was quite challenging. And to be fair, other than the fact that I got one-shotted by Hiking Mulgar, and then another time I actually line-of-sighted the healer. Other than that, it was fine. And then Gruul, as I say, no one done anything wrong on Gruul. It was easy. It was the DPS was lower than it will be in Classic as well. You got to remember that, because while you're all saying, oh well, you've got full pre-raid bis and all that, we don't get full pre-raid bis. On what planet is a Feral Druid's pre-raid bis tier 1 dungeon set 1? Sorry, it's not. The gear is not optimal whatsoever. The fact that you can go and get exalted with all the reputations and get a couple of easy epics like Earth Warden, for example, yes, that's very nice. But would I be tanking in dungeon set 1? No. I'd have 3-piece Clefttooth, lots more stamina, lots more sockets, lots more armor. It's not that I'm going to be tanking at all, because I despise tanking. This was genuinely actually the first time I've tanked Hiking Mulgar and Gruul. And you've seen how long I've been putting content out on YouTube for now about TBC, and I've never tanked either of them before, because I'm always DPS. This was literally, I just done it because I was feral. We were struggling finding tanks, so I tanked. So even my positioning on Gruul to begin with was wrong. I should have been at the side taking the hatefuls. So this is why I'm saying it was nice, because it was a learning curve for me as well as, you know, someone who's not tanked it before. But it wasn't difficult. So I don't think you've got any problems with, you know, if you're re-rolling a class in TBC that you're not 100% confident with, or a role that you're not 100% confident with, the raids are not going to be that challenging, specifically in Tier 4, that you need to worry about it. Now, as I say, it didn't take that long, and that is both a good and a bad thing. You know, you've got to remember, as I say, the majority of the group, there was a lot of people that had never even done this before. I'd probably split it sort of 70-30. I'd say there was probably like 30% of the raid have done it before, either on private servers or back in the day, and then probably 70% hadn't even seen it before. So I wasn't expecting miracles. Do you know what I mean? I was not expecting miracles, but we done it, and you know, we done it in a reasonably decent amount of time, which for me, as I say, is both a good and a bad thing, because the bad thing is we're going to have months and months and months, as I said before, of just Tier 4. If we can do Gruul in like 45 minutes or whatever it took us, it wasn't long at all, and then Magferrodon in another 45 minutes, you can do all of Tier 4 in one night. That's not a lot of raiding. I genuinely see Phase 1 as being the alt phase, and by alt phase I mean you'll get your main, you'll get attuned to everywhere, you'll get your reputations and everything that you need to do, and then yeah, you'll probably be running alt runs, so you've got something to do more than just once a week. Which again is actually quite a good thing when you think of it. So I've sort of gone from the mindset yesterday of being like, oh, Karazhan's too easy. You know, Gruul, yes, it's easy. Trust me, if you've got 25 people who know what they're doing, Hiking Mulgar and Gruul are easy, as most of you expected. But that can actually be quite a good thing for setting up for sort of Phase 2, Phase 3, Phase 4, you know, going forward, because it's actually going to give us time to be able to clear all the content nice and quick, and then actually focus on getting, you know, our alts that we want as maybe backup raiders. You know, if a tank don't turn up and you're that guy who's got, you know, a prop warrior sort of alt that you've been gearing up all through Phase 1, you know, it might actually be quite fun. Because I think the gearing up the leveling, obviously I hate the leveling. You know, the 60 to 70 on an alt is going to be awful. But the gearing up process and the going and doing Karazhan a couple of times a week on different characters, that bit is actually going to be fun. So what I've taken away from the beta testing so far as the raids go, obviously we've not done Magferrodon tonight. We could be in for a surprise. I doubt it. It could be a good Phase 1. Yes, the content's not going to be massively hard, but we're going to have time to do other things in game without feeling like we're getting left behind by the rest of the guild who are, you know, no life in it 12 hours a day. So I appreciate this was quite a quick one, but they're just my thoughts on Gruul. You know, Hiking Mulgar, get the positioning right and the pull right, and you're not going to have any issues at all. Literally the whole fight is, can you get everybody in the right place? Can you kill the skull super quickly? If both of those things happen, the pull is successful and the skull dies, which is the healer, then you're not going to have any issues at all. The rest of it, everything should just slowly fall over one at a time. Obviously, you need to keep an eye on your mage, who's going to be your mage tank. We had obviously a boomy tank in Kigler. So just standard, sort of a standard setup. And the same with Gruul. If your group can spread nicely before it does the shatter, you're not going to have any issues. If you can keep your tanks up and make sure that your two tanks are top threat, you know, first and second on threat, you're not going to have any issues either. I would say a decently geared group in Classic will probably be killing it at like 6 or 7 growth stacks, which is nothing. I think when we killed it, it was on 9. So, you know, I'm not saying we was the quickest or anything like that. By no stretch of the imagination, our DPS was incredibly low compared to some of the groups that I've been looking at, as in half the DPS. So I'd imagine people have already done it in the beta on like 4 or 5 stacks, seriously. So it's not going to be challenging, but it's going to be fun. They're my thoughts so far. Come back tomorrow where we talk about Magferrodon, and obviously come over to twitch.tv/Scottejaye87 if you want to come and watch me do Magferrodon tonight. Other than that, make sure you like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.